5 months into my pregnancy, a stranger claimed she was the real mother of my baby, and what I discovered in my husband's hidden ultrasound shattered my life. They came in plain white envelopes. No return address, no stamp, no handwriting I recognized. At first I laughed it off, thinking someone from work was playing some twisted joke. But the first letter wiped the smile off my face instantly. "You're carrying my child? You don't deserve her. I am the real mother." And soon you'll understand why. The words shouldn't have felt real. They should have been insane ramblings. But right under the text was a small drawing of a tiny birthmark on the baby's left ankle. A birthmark I had only seen in my most recent ultrasound. An ultrasound my doctor had specifically asked me not to share yet, because she wanted to confirm something before worrying me. No one else knew. Not my mother. Not my best friend. Not even my husband, Daniel. I tried to convince myself it was luck, a guess, something coincidence could explain. But the timing was strange and the drawing was too accurate. It was like someone was watching inside my body. That night I sat on the couch, clutching the letter. Daniel came home late again, smelling faintly of perfume that wasn't mine. He kissed my forehead quickly and said he was exhausted from work, but he wouldn't look me in the eyes. When I asked what had kept him so late, he mumbled something about client calls and rushed to take a shower. I watched him walk away, and a cold realization began creeping into my bones. He wasn't just tired. He was hiding something he had no idea I was beginning to uncover. The second letter arrived the next morning. This one wasn't a threat, it was a warning. "You don't know what you're carrying. They lied to us both. He lied to you most of all. Ask him about the child before you. Ask him what happened 2 years ago." My heartbeat thudded in my ears. The words tore open something inside me, something I had felt but never dared to confront. Daniel had always avoided conversations about having kids. He claimed he wasn't ready. Then suddenly, 3 months into our marriage, he changed his mind, not gradually but overnight. One day he didn't want kids, the next day he was desperate. Obsessed, even. At the time, I thought it was love. Now I wasn't so sure. That evening, I sat across from him at dinner, watching the way he pushed his food around his plate without eating. The silence between us was suffocating. I forced myself to ask casually, "Did we ever talk about kids before we married? Like, seriously talk?" His fork froze midair and his eyes flicked up sharply. "Why are you asking that?" "No reason," I lied. "Just thinking about things." He didn't respond. He didn't need to. His face said everything. He did not want to discuss anything related to the past. The next morning, he left unusually early for work, and I knew he wasn't going to the office. His suit was wrong, his tie was uncoordinated, his hair wasn't styled the way he always did for meetings. He was lying again. I tried calling him several times, but he didn't answer. My hands trembled as I reached for the drawer where we kept old documents, wedding papers, insurance, medical records. Something inside me pushed me to search. I didn't even know what I was looking for. But then, I found it. A small manila envelope shoved in the back of Daniel's drawer, hidden underneath old tax forms. Inside, there was a glossy ultrasound photo, dated 2 years before I'd ever gotten pregnant. My breath hitched, choking me from the inside. The baby in the photo looked far too developed. This wasn't from some anonymous medical pamphlet. This was real. This was someone's child, Daniel's child, a child he had never told me about. My hands shook violently as I stared at the date. It was 8 months before our wedding. My heart dropped so hard I felt physically sick. Was this what the woman meant? Was she the mother of Daniel's first child? A child he pretended never existed. Before I could process what the hell was happening, my phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. "You found it. Good. Now listen, he took my child from me. He will take yours too. Come meet me tonight. You need to hear the truth." Attached was a time, a location, a park on the edge of town. My whole body trembled, but something inside me whispered that I needed to go. I needed the truth before my world fell apart entirely. When Daniel returned home, he seemed panicked, checking drawers, pacing the hallway, opening and closing doors like he'd lost something. When he noticed me watching, he tried to act normal, but his voice cracked when he said, "Did you see anything unusual today?" "No," I said quietly, even though the ultrasound burned like fire inside my pocket. He nodded too quickly. His gaze darted around like he was being watched. At 8 p.m., I slipped out of the house quietly, telling him I was going to get ice cream to calm my pregnancy cravings. He didn't argue. He didn't even follow me to the door. He just stared at the floor like a man terrified of something he couldn't explain. The park was dimly lit, cold, and almost empty. My heart raced with every step, the shadows feeling too heavy, too alive. Then I saw her. A woman in a long coat, hair tied in a messy bun, sitting on a bench with a crumpled letter in her hands. Her eyes lifted slowly when she heard my footsteps. "You came," she whispered. I swallowed hard. "Are you the one sending me letters?" "Yes," she said, "because you deserve the truth before he takes everything from you." My throat tightened. "What do you mean, what truth?" She looked at my stomach, my unborn child, and her eyes darkened with an emotion I couldn't decipher. "I'm not your enemy," she said softly. "But Daniel is not the man you think he is. Your baby isn't the first child he planned for. Mine was." The wind grew colder, scraping against my skin as her words hung in the air. I forced myself to breathe. "What happened to your baby?" She closed her eyes, tears trembling at the edge of her lashes. "He took her," she whispered. "And now he wants yours." I froze, my heart, my breath, my thoughts, everything stopped. And before I could speak, before I could scream, a familiar voice echoed behind me from the darkness. "Why are you here?" I turned slowly. Daniel stood at the entrance of the park, his face pale, eyes burning with something terrifying and something guilty. "Come home," he said. "Now." His voice wasn't a request. It was a warning, a threat, a command. And suddenly I realized the woman behind me wasn't lying. Daniel had secrets, deadly secrets, and I wasn't safe anymore. Daniel's voice cut through the cold night air like a blade. "Come home, now." I froze between him and the woman on the bench, two people tied together by a secret I was only beginning to understand. My heart thudded so loudly I could hear it in my ears. The woman's hands trembled as she whispered, "Don't go with him, not until you know the truth." Daniel stepped closer, and for the first time since I'd known him, I saw something new in his eyes. Not anger, not shock, something far worse, fear. "Get away from her," he said sharply to the woman. "You don't belong here." The woman stood slowly, clutching her coat tightly around her thin body. "She deserves to know what you did to us, what you did to my baby." Daniel's jaw clenched. "Your baby wasn't—" "Don't you dare finish that sentence," she spat. Their tension was suffocating. The air vibrated with everything unsaid. My throat tightened as I forced myself to speak. "Daniel, who is she?" He didn't answer me, not directly. Instead, he took my wrist gently, too gently, like he was afraid I'd break if he touched me too hard. "Come home, please," he whispered. "We can talk there." But the woman stepped between us. "If you leave with him," she warned, "you'll never hear my side, and you'll never know what really happened to the child before yours." My knees weakened, and I placed one hand on my stomach instinctively, as if shielding my unborn child from the chaos unraveling around me. "Tell me," I whispered to her. "What did he do?" She inhaled shakily, eyes glistening. 2 years ago, I was pregnant with his child. He told me he wanted a family, that he wanted a baby more than anything. He said he loved me." "Trusted me?" Her voice cracked. "Until the night I went into early labor." Daniel stiffened. "I delivered a premature baby girl," the woman continued, tears sliding down her cheeks. "She wasn't breathing well. The doctors rushed her to NICU. I begged Daniel to stay with me. He told me he was going to follow the doctors and check on her." Daniel's fists clenched. "This isn't the time." "Then why didn't you come back?" she snapped. "Why didn't you walk into that NICU? Why did you disappear instead?" I felt the world tilt slightly. "Disappeared?" She nodded at me. "He left, vanished. The nurses said he didn't stay even a minute, and the next morning when I woke up," her voice shattered. "My baby was gone." A sharp gasp slipped from my lips. "Gone? What do you mean gone?" "She was taken," the woman said. "Not discharged, not transferred, taken, no paperwork, no explanation, no trace." My breathing quickened. My head spun. This was too much, too fast, too terrifying. Daniel stepped forward, shaking his head rapidly. "She's lying. She has been obsessed with me for years. She didn't lose a child." "Stop it," she said with a cold, broken laugh. "Stop pretending you didn't walk into that NICU. Stop pretending you didn't pick up my baby from her incubator. Stop pretending you didn't carry her out of the hospital in your jacket." My stomach reeled. I stared at Daniel. He didn't deny it, not with his words, but with his silence. Daniel lowered his head, shoulders tense like he was wrestling with invisible chains. "I didn't take her baby," he said quietly. "I took what was left." "What was left?" I whispered. "Daniel, what does that even mean?" He looked at me then, really looked at me with eyes full of torment I'd never seen before. "She wasn't alive," he said. "The doctors told me she had no brain activity, that she wouldn't survive." I held her and she wasn't breathing. I didn't want her to die alone in that cold room. The woman shook uncontrollably. You didn't tell me. You let me think she was alive. You let me believe for 2 years that she was out there somewhere. Why would you do that to me? Daniel swallowed hard. Because I couldn't bear watching you break. You were already so fragile. You wouldn't have survived it. The woman let out a guttural cry that sliced through the night, and then something inside me broke too. Why didn't you tell me any of this? I whispered. Why did you hide the ultrasound? Why did you act like this never happened? Daniel's face crumpled. Because I wanted to start over. I wanted a child again, a second chance. I didn't want to talk about the past, not when we finally had something good. Something good. My pregnancy, my baby, a horrifying thought crept into my mind. Did you want a baby with me because of what happened before? I asked, voice trembling. Is that why you were so desperate suddenly? Daniel hesitated. And that hesitation was enough. The woman took a step closer to me. And now he wants yours. He wants to fix the hole in his life with your child, just like he tried to fix it with mine. It's not like that, Daniel said desperately. I love you. I love our baby. Then why didn't you tell me the truth? I cried. Why did everything have to be a lie? He opened his mouth, but before he could speak, the woman whispered something that made my knees almost buckle. He didn't just want my baby, he wanted control. Daniel's face went white. He made every decision about my pregnancy, she continued. My diet, my doctor visits, my sleep. He pushed me to do everything his way. I thought he cared, I thought he was protecting us, until I realized he was preparing for something else entirely. What? I asked. She wiped her tears, voice steadier now. He kept telling me that I shouldn't worry about raising the child alone because he would take care of everything. Every single thing. He didn't want a partner. He wanted a child for himself. My blood ran cold. Daniel stepped closer to me, his voice cracking. That's not true. Please don't believe her. She's twisting everything. She's always done this. But my instincts, my mother's instincts, were screaming. Everything suddenly made sense. The way he monitored my vitamins, the way he hid certain appointment reminders, the way he insisted on a home birth to save money, the way he panicked when I mentioned giving my mom a spare house key, the way he told me he wanted more control so nothing would go wrong. He wasn't controlling my pregnancy. He was controlling me. The woman touched my arm gently. He will take the baby the moment you give birth. It's what he tried to do with mine. Enough. My fear turned to steel. No, I said firmly. He won't. Daniel's expression twisted, fear, anger, desperation tangled together. Please, he whispered, voice breaking. Come home, I can explain everything. I stepped back. No, I said, I'm not going anywhere with you. He froze. I backed closer to the woman. I'm going to the police. I'm going to the hospital. I'm going anywhere you can't reach me. Daniel's voice trembled. Don't do this. Don't take her away from me. She isn't yours to take, I whispered. And for the first time since I'd known Daniel, his mask shattered. Tears streamed down his face. I can't lose another baby, please. Something about the way he said it made me want to cry too, but I couldn't. Not when my child's safety depended on me staying strong. We'll get you help, I said gently, but you can't be around me or the baby, not like this. His shoulders collapsed. I never wanted to hurt you, he whispered. Then he turned around slowly and walked out of the park. Not running, not chasing, just leaving, defeated, broken. When he disappeared into the darkness, the woman beside me let out a long, trembling breath. Are you okay? She asked softly. No, I whispered, but I will be. She nodded, wiping her eyes. You saved your baby tonight. You saved yourself. I reached for her hand. I'm sorry for what you went through. For what he put you through. Pain flickered across her face. I just hope you won't ever feel what I felt. I looked down at my stomach, feeling my baby's small flutter, a tiny reminder of why I had to survive this. We'll both be okay, I said gently. You and I, for the first time, she smiled weakly. Maybe, someday. Before leaving, she added one last thing. Something that made me feel unexpectedly hopeful. If you ever need me, if you ever feel unsafe, call me. You're not alone anymore. And with that, she walked away into the night. I stood there for a long moment, one hand on my belly, one hand clenched around the last letter she had sent me. The wind rustled the trees softly, almost comforting, almost protective. My life was shattered. My marriage was over. My trust was broken, but my baby, my innocent little life, was still safe. And I would do anything, absolutely anything, to keep it that way. When I finally turned toward the road, the moonlight glinted off a white envelope resting gently on the park bench. It was addressed to me. I opened it with shaking hands. Congratulations, you chose correctly. Protect her well. Some men don't deserve to be fathers. No signature, just truth. And behind that truth, a freedom I never expected to have. I walked away from the park, from the past, from the lies, from the darkness, and for the first time in months, I felt something rising in my chest. Strength, hope, and the promise of a future where my baby would grow up safe, loved, and free from the shadows that once threatened to consume us. Thank you for being part of our community. Your likes, comments, and shares help us bring more unbelievable Reddit family stories every day. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a shocking story.